Welcome to the Cannabis Legal Group videocast. We help people and their companies in the cannabis industry by delivering expert legal services in the areas of real estate, license application, and corporate legal services. My name is Barton Morris. If you're interested in ensuring that you're maximizing the value, making sure that you're getting every last dollar out of your business, if you want to make sure that you are saving money on the taxes and the tax consequences that are going to be related, in addition to making sure that you do it quickly and get that business sold as quickly as possible, those are all things that are covered in our free report, and you should download that report and get that information because it's probably going to save you some money. To obtain this valuable free report, use your phone to scan the QR code on the screen, which will give you the opportunity to enter in your email and we can send it to you. For this third video in the series, I'm going to talk about the buying of distressed businesses. A distressed business is one that is basically trying to sell its assets or its business because it is in usually a financial condition that it is no longer able to operate. It's distressed, meaning that it is disabled or it is in a problem situation such that it's got to unload whatever quickly. Oftentimes they want to maintain operations in order to sell an ongoing business. But that makes the situation distressed because it may be difficult to maintain that ongoing business. There are likely creditors and there are likely liabilities that are causing, or it could be simply a lack of sales, an increase of competition, a number of things, bad management, a number of things can contribute to the distressed business and the identification of a distressed business. The point of this video is to ensure that somebody buying a distressed business is taking into account all of the problems or the inherent potential problems that buying a distressed business can create. So there's a number of things that need to be discussed when talking about buying a distressed cannabis licensed business. The first, I think, is the fact that a potential buyer needs to know that it is a distressed business. See, buyers are not likely to go and simply disclose this information. The fact that it is a distressed business will likely mean that it is of significant less value. And that is not something that they're interested in just readily disclosing. In fact, there may be, when the seller of the business may even try to hide it in certain circumstances. So it is important for a buyer to understand and do the due diligence necessary to identify a financially distressed business. There is a law called the Uniform Voidable Transactions Act, which will make a buyer liable for the business's debt and liabilities, even if they try to contract out of them. So even if there is an agreement where the buyer would not be responsible for the seller's liabilities, they still may be responsible under certain circumstances. The Uniform Voidable Transactions Act is a law that seeks to protect creditors. A creditor meaning somebody that was owed money or a number of creditors that are owed money from a business, and then that business seeks to sell its business to somebody else and then kind of screw the creditors. So the act is actually designed to keep that from happening. And what happens is particularly in situations when a buyer buys a business and they're not understanding the provisions of the Uniform Voidable Transaction Act, they may be undertaking liabilities that they even contractually tried to avoid. In order to avoid these provisions, it's best to try to limit the continuity of the operation of the business. For instance, if there is going to be like a sale of a retail establishment, as that retail establishment continues its operation, it would be a good idea to perhaps change the vendors, or change the management structure, changing even the name of the business. not using that same DBA. All of those things would avoid liability, potential liability that is going to continue through even the new owners. Particularly important in the cannabis industry is that distressed businesses cannot avail themselves of bankruptcy protection. Bankruptcy is a federal program, and therefore cannabis businesses, which are controlled substance businesses, Schedule I controlled substance businesses, cannot use the bankruptcy process and therefore are even more vulnerable. So a distressed business will likely have more economic damage that potential buyers need to be aware of. That's why it is a very significant issue in the cannabis industry, particularly these days when the buying and selling of businesses is becoming much more frequent. Here are a couple additional strategies that can be employed in order to avoid obtaining the liabilities of a distressed business. The biggest way to do so is to buy the assets of the business and not the equity in the company. As I have previously said, when purchasing a business, you can purchase the equity in the business and therefore purchase the actual company, where the company doesn't change the name, you're actually buying the company. Or you can buy the assets of the company. And then the new company would be acquiring the assets of the old company. That asset purchase is the best way to avoid the provisions of the Uniform Voidable Transactions Act. It'd be the best way to avoid transferring liability. But it also requires that the new company also be granted a license both from the municipality and from the Cannabis Regulatory Agency. Sometimes that can be a much more lengthy process that people don't want to engage in. But when identifying and buying a distressed business, it's best to seek to transfer the license or get a new license really through the municipality. So you go to the municipality and depending upon what their ordinances are and what their laws are, you can seek to simply just get a replacement license or a new license as opposed to getting the license transferred. Every city is going to be different about that. But what's not different, every license through the Cannabis Regulatory Agency is going to be, that situation is going to be the same. You do have to get a new license. There is no transferability of the license if there's going to be an asset purchase. The new company has to then acquire its own license, which generally is going to take about the same amount of time, but it is a different process through which regulatory process. So this was the third in a series of 4 videos about mergers and acquisitions and really the buying and selling of a cannabis licensed business. You can find out more at going to our website, cannabis-legalgroup.com, and if you're interested in buying or selling a cannabis business, you should download our free report about how to best value and get the best value from selling your cannabis business by scanning the QR code with your phone on the screen. My name is Barton Morris. Thank you for watching.